Hi everyone, my name is Ajane Robinson and I'm a reporter for WBRC Fox 6 News in Birmingham, and I'm here to talk a little bit about my FAFSA journey. Now, before going to college, my mom, she was very big on her and I filling out that application together. With me being an out-of-state student, there were only so many financial aid options to make going to the University of Alabama possible, and filling out that application helped her and I plan out how we were going to pay for and afford me to go to UA. Now, with that being said, we sat down together, we filled out that application together, and I think this ultimately made us feel a little bit less stressed about paying for college. Now, some of the perks that came with filling out that application is I found out that I was eligible to become a work-study student, meaning I was eligible to get a work-study job on campus, which ultimately helped me keep money inside my pocket for a rainy day and helped me stay out of my mom's pocket, which she very much loved. But all in all, I would truly say that filling out that application is very beneficial, and I would encourage any student, parent, or guardian to fill out that application and see what benefits are out there. The application is free, so you have nothing to lose and everything to gain.
Good morning and welcome to Alabama Possible's Coffee and Conversation cooking show. Yes, you heard me right, cooking show. I am Chandra Scott, the Executive Director for Alabama Possible, and today we are reimagining our coffee and conversation. Alabama Possible's mission is to break down barriers to prosperity in Alabama through education, collaboration, and advocacy to ensure that all Alabamians can lead prosperous lives. We have a rich history of transforming conversations around education and poverty in Alabama. Today we're continuing that conversation by reimagining prosperity in Alabama. The generous contribution from our presenting sponsors has made this event a possibility. So thank you to the Alabama Power Foundation and Lawson State Community College. I'm thankful for supporters like you who are with us this morning, both near and far. Your support allows us to take on the enormous task of breaking down barriers to prosperity across our state. Know that we can't do this without you, and if you want to further assist us in fulfilling our mission and are able to, please scan the QR code on your screen to donate. On behalf of the Alabama Possible Board of Directors and our small but mighty team, once again, we'd like to thank you for your continued support. Now, I did say we are reimagining our coffee and conversation. We have a great experience lined up for you this morning. Coming to you live from the beautiful campus of Lawson State Community College, President Cynthia Anthony, thank you for hosting us today in this amazing culinary facility. We prepared an excellent breakfast and invited two of our favorite people, Marta Self, the Executive Director of the Regents Foundation, and Secretary Fitzgerald Washington from the Alabama Department of Labor. They're going to help us out in the kitchen this morning. And now it is my pleasure to introduce President Cynthia Anthony.
Thank you, Chandra. We are excited to host you here this morning and have all of you virtually experience Lawson State Community College. You're in for a treat over the next hour with us, and I'm ready to see what magic happens in the kitchen this morning. Lawson State is an institution with a rich history of academic achievement and an unmatched record of community leadership and service. With over 3,000 credit students, an additional 2,000 non-credit and workforce participants, and over 250 faculty and staff, we are delighted to welcome you here today. When we think about reimagining prosperity in Alabama, we at Lawson State are doing just that by preparing our students through our many programs. We offer over 80 major degree and certificate granting programs. Today's coffee and conversation is taking place in one of those amazing programs, Culinary Arts. Housed in our state-of-the-art training facility, students receive extensive training and development of skills to become competent in the field of culinary arts, food preparation, service, and hospitality management. I am so excited to get started. We have with us today Chef Darvin McDaniel and Chef Adam Elliott, along with some of our amazing culinary students, to help us cook up something really good. I know you all are ready to get in the kitchen with us, but before we begin, please join me in welcoming Alabama Possible Board Chair, Ron Houston.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you, Dr. Anthony, for sharing this beautiful facility with us. I'm Ron Houston, the Board Chair for Alabama Possible, and I'm delighted to be here for the Reimagining Coffee and Conversation. And I hope you're just as excited as I am to not only hear the great conversation, but to also experience the extraordinary culinary skills that will be showcased by these amazing chefs here at Lawson State Community College. For nearly 30 years, Alabama Possible has transformed how people think and talk about economic opportunity and education attainment in Alabama. And today's conversation, we will continue to elevate and amplify our mission of breaking down barriers to prosperity in Alabama. We believe education is the road to a better life, and we work at the intersection of practice and policy to ensure all young people can pursue their education without sacrificing their economic future. I have the distinct honor of introducing to you a special friend of Alabama Possible, Marta Self. But before I do, I want to thank Aqualateral for their generous donation of $10,000. It's partners like you that allow us to continue to do the work that we do. And now, please help me welcome Marta Self, Executive Director for the Regions Foundation.
Thank you, Ron, and good morning, everyone. I can't tell you how excited I am to be here today. I am honored to spend my morning here at Lawson State Community College. As the Executive Director of the Regions Foundation, we are thankful that Alabama has organizations like Alabama Possible, working to remove barriers for students from under-resourced families pursuing a college degree or any other post-secondary credential that will position them for Alabama's robust workforce. What better way to bring awareness to this important work than through a cooking show? So first, I would like to introduce you to our chef for this morning, Chef Darvin McDaniel. And we also have Chef Adam Elliott behind us, along with some amazing culinary students. Chef Darvin will be guiding us through our menu today. Thank you all for joining us. And I'm also truly honored to introduce our final guest and my partner in the kitchen today, Secretary Fitzgerald Washington from the Department of Labor. Secretary Washington has served the Alabama Department of Labor since 2014, or like he likes to say, 3,000 days.
3001.
3001. And during his tenure and through his leadership, the department has launched a statewide marketing campaign, initiated a new job fair initiative, and realigned the state workforce system and resources. Thank you, Secretary Washington, for all that you do and for joining us today. And now I am feeling the heat, so I'm gonna turn over this kitchen to the professionals, and Chef Darvin will guide us through a conversation and show us how it's really done.
Thank you very much, Marta. I hope everyone's doing all right this morning. So as you can see, true to form, you're gonna hear this click and this huge thing come on. So what that is our fan. That is a safety precaution due to relative heat in the room, and since we have lights for all the recording, it will come on and off. Nevertheless, we are in very good hands here. Okay, so we're gonna get started first of all, and we have 3 recipes for you. First one's gonna be a breakfast frittata. The second one, potatoes O'Brien, and then we're gonna cap this thing off with a wonderful, fresh, vibrant flavored breakfast parfait. So let's get started, guys, shall we? Okay, let's start out here with the frittata. Start with some butter. We're gonna add some olive oil to the equation so that we don't get everything burned up and done too fast here. Olive oil has what we call a high smoke point, which means it doesn't burn that easily.
Oh, so that's why you add olive oil to butter.
That's right, because where there's butter, there's flavor. Where there's olive oil, there's a saving grace.
And everything tastes good with butter.
Exactly, everything's better with butter. I'm gonna start out with adding some of these peppers, okay? It's a little rainbow pepper for you, okay? Start here with some red onion. It's a little mix of red and white. I'm gonna do some salt and pepper and a light saute. The whole purpose of this is so that we can develop flavor and we don't have crunchy vegetables. There's our friend again. We're gonna start this. Right here before me, we've got eggs and cream. We're gonna make what's basic classic custard. It's gonna turn out just fine, but that leaves the eggs nice and silky. So as they bake, the proteins from the dairy and the eggs give you a nice, creamy, silky pie shape. As you can see, that's presented before you already, and we're gonna enjoy this as we go, guys. Got this going.
So if we wanted to make it a little lighter, could you put like just skim milk, or that's not gonna work?
You could use skim milk. You could even, in certain cases, use rice or almond milk. It just depends on what your preference is. And then, of course, the texture will change somewhat. But pretty much because of the starches in rice, you're pretty safe there.
Okay.
Right. So we have these going. Pretty much we've got them where we want them to go. And I'm gonna take this custard, as you can see, I'm gonna start in the middle, kind of like a funnel cake, and work my way around to evenly to do the even distribution of all the ingredients, okay?
That's a lot.
Okay, we're done there. Next part, to make it good, we're gonna use some of these baby heirloom tomatoes. And I wanted to put them in last because I didn't want them to overcook and then we have tomato sauce in the middle of our eggs, right? I'm gonna do that, add a few of these. With that, you get a sweet, you get a savory, and you get an earthy flavor that helps this really go forward and present itself as best it can. Add a little more salt and pepper here just to keep it in the game. Not a whole lot, but salt and pepper in moderation at every step. Next part here, as you can see, our friend wants to hear it too, so he's back. Gonna add a little feta. Feta is more of a Mediterranean-based cheese, but it has a lot of good probiotic qualities, has really good things going on with it. And last but not least, what would be a frittata without sharp cheddar?
Gotta have cheddar.
Exactly. Everything's better with cheddar, right? Let's go there. We're actually gonna indulge here a little, guys, and we're going to really add cheddar. Because when this goes in the oven, and it starts to bake.
Oh, so this is gonna bake.
Yes, basically think of a crustless quiche or an open-faced omelet. But the proper terminology, since I am an instructor, is frittata. Here we go.
Oh, that looks amazing.
Yeah. And then we're gonna allow the sides to set, almost like a pancake, if you will. You know how you have the sides set, and then once you see the holes in? Right, and they're starting to set, and we're only gonna move them off for a moment. And then from here, for the sake of presentation, add some fresh parsley. Can't go wrong there.
It's all about presentation.
Presentation, presentation, presentation. Absolutely. All right. I think that's enough of that. And before we go to the oven, guys, I'm gonna come here with this spatula, and we're just gonna go to the sides and give this a moment to start working its magic. As you can see, you adjust on this flame. Everything's ready to go.
All right, so what's the stovetop temperature right now?
Stovetop temperature, I'd say roughly about 3 to 325. And from there, you're gonna start this, and then the beauty of this is we can set the bottom, and then when we go into the oven, you have an even dispensation of heat that allows everything to cook evenly. So you get that rise, and you get that tender. Okay? So from this point, I'm gonna turn this heat off. I'm gonna pass this over to Chef Adam. Thank you, Chef. Thank you, Chef. And that's going right into the oven, guys. Stay tuned, it's gonna be pretty good. So while that's in the oven, let's have a conversation. Secretary, the first one is for you. Let me ask you a question. Given the AP's mission of breaking down barriers to prosperity, what do you think is one of the major barriers that people in Alabama face while trying to make ends meet?
Well, first is having the job seeker find a career, not just a job. I can't think of a better time right now than to be in Alabama because there's so many available jobs right now. There's 2 jobs for every 1 person that we report is unemployed. And so I suggest that someone do their own self-assessment, find out what their strengths are, reach out to one of my 56 career centers, sit down and talk with my professional staffers. We'll make the recommendation to get you back in the workforce.
Sounds like a plan. Okay. So as you can see, guys, we have some talented students here with us today. What advice would you give them as they prepare to enter the workforce? Marta, you want to take that one?
Yes, of course. And you know, I cheated a little bit because I talked to them before we got on camera here. So Those are very motivated students that are working in our culinary program. And actually, we have one that's doing a dual major, right? So he has 2 certifications. And my advice to them is to just be your own advocate in all that we do, right? So your career depends on you. It doesn't depend on anybody else. It's not a boss, it's not the circumstances, it's not your family. It's you are your advocate. Bet on you. You are your best resource in everything that you're going to do, and then you bring those things to yourself, right? So come to Lawson. I'm sure Chef Darwin, they know how to get to you.
Right.
They know to talk to you after.
And they do.
And they do, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, so and I'm sure you instill that in them. You instill that love of learning and of self-advocacy. So that's just very important.
Right. Marta, speaking of which, I learned that the Regents Foundation partnered with the Alabama Possible to afford any student wanting to attend an HBCU to apply without paying the application fees. Why was this important to you?
Yeah, so the Regents Foundation, like Alabama Possible, we work to break barriers of prosperity. We really want people to, our communities in general, to reach more prosperity. And you can't have a prosperous community without people that are prosperous there, right? So that's something that Chandra brought to me a little while ago and said, hey, we have this opportunity. It's an organization, the Common Black College application, that once we supported students to apply through the Common Black College application, and that allowed them to apply with no fee to any community college, any HBCU in the country. And you see, that just really opens doors. And I think people sometimes are so, I love that we're reimagining here, where I think people need to reimagine themselves and see what's available for them, and don't let an application fee really, I don't want anybody to be worried about that. The Regents Foundation can help you with that. So that application fee is not a consideration anymore. We're making it available for everybody, and then you can apply and talk to the colleges once you get in and see what fits you better. And talking about community college, I learned something about Secretary Fitzgerald Washington. Would you tell us about your education background? Because I think it's just really very rich. We need to learn about it.
Well, I'm a byproduct of the community college system, and so I've always found out ways to sort of give back to the community college system. So imagine when I left the community college system, I didn't know it at the time, but I was reimagining myself to have a really rewarding career, and I'm pretty fortunate that I really love what I do.
Both of you are a wealth of information, I'll tell you that. Marta, Alabama Possible raises awareness on removing barriers to prosperity. So what supports are out there or being developed to support those entering the workforce?
So, of course, one is Alabama Possible, right? And they do help tremendously students that are trying to pursue post-secondary education. So they have FAFSA completion workshops, they talk to school counselors, and they really shore up sort of a scaffolding around a student that wants to participate in post-secondary education. The other one is just community college or credentialing. And for that, I think career services and career centers like Secretary Washington runs with our state, that's another huge resource.
Secretary Washington, what excites you about the reimagining the future of Alabama?
Oh my God, there's so much excitement that's involved with that. You look at the positive headwinds right now that our state is moving in. You look at from an economic development standpoint, there are companies that are relocating here from outside the state here to Alabama. They wouldn't be coming here if we didn't have the students to be able to satisfy those job descriptions. There's not a week that doesn't go by where you hear an announcement where 50 jobs, 100 jobs, 600 jobs will come to the state. And so the future with Alabama is very, very reimagining.
Right. Now, guys, don't forget, this is still a fundraiser. So, Marta, would you tell us how people can continue to support?
That's right. Yes, it is. This is a fundraiser. So I would like to say thank you to Daniel and Brooke Coleman. I see Daniel and Brooke Coleman. Thank you for your generous donation to Alabama Possible. And thanks to Swell Fundraising, it's never been easier to give to the causes you care about. If you want to support the efforts to end generational poverty by removing barriers to post-secondary access, do this. I know you all have your phones right there. Scan the QR code that's on the screen right now. And if you have any difficulty with giving, call May Whiting at 334-316-6666. 334-316-6155. 334-316-6155. But you can also just check on that QR code there. So, Chef, back to you now.
Okay, so let's get into this next dish. It's called potatoes O'Brien. It's a classic dish we use for breakfast and people love it here in the South. We're gonna start with a few tablespoons of olive oil. Build a flavor profile here. After that, I'm gonna add more butter because as we said before, everything's better with butter, right? Add some of that right in the middle. And allow this to get started, guys.
So why use olive oil?
Well,
if you don't mind me asking.
Oh, I don't mind at all. Olive oil has a high smoke point, has a nice fruity flavor, and with olive oil having a high smoke point, it is easier for you to cook without the oil or the fat burning over and over again. You having to keep replacing things. So we put olive oil with everything. Now there are different presses of olive oil, and there's cold press that's extra virgin, and there's just virgin, and there's others, and you can tell them in the store because they get lighter and lighter, okay? But this is extra virgin, adds a really good flavor to potatoes, and we're gonna keep going here. Let these potatoes start up.
Is that a much more healthier option, using olive oil?
It is a healthier option. It is actually what you call a good cholesterol. It's a HDL, a high density lipoprotein. Olive oil and things such as avocado and safflower oil have a lot of the same nutritional values that lend to good health, and they act as lubricants for your vessels, so it's good for cardiovascular health, okay?
So, Chef, I see you didn't peel the potatoes, or like some are peeled, some are not peeled. What's the deal there?
Well, the thing is they're actually all not peeled, but some are just center cuts, and these are Yukon Golds. So these skins melt like butter. So this is a really easy one, and this is popular because they are naturally nutty and buttery to the taste. Then we add cream if you're gonna mash them, and in this case, we decided to do the potatoes O'Brien, and we decided to use these because they cream up very easily, and give them a nice toss here real quick, just so everything's coated very well.
I don't think I'm that coordinated.
And keep in mind that we're chefs and we're instructors, so we're not magicians. So if you need more oil, certainly add that. Now that we're at this point, we're gonna go in and add some onions. I like the red onion because it presents flavor, and the red onion is almost a hybrid, if you will, as far as flavor is concerned, between white onion and shallot. So it gives a really good flavor. Add those. Then we're gonna do these bell peppers. We have yellow, orange, and red. Add some of those.
No garlic.
Now you can certainly add garlic if you wish, but in this particular one, people like a nice starchy traditional dish, and that's what we're gonna stick with. Just a quick note here: pepper is a spice, salt is a magnifier, right? Salt is actually the introducer or the MC to certain things, and salt should magnify the flavor of what's already there, okay? So we're gonna take this, and as you can see, the spatula works well, but I kind of like to be fancy. Give it a nice flick, and we're good to go.
I love the colors in what we're doing here.
Right.
Very colorful.
Okay, we're gonna take this
Talk about color.
and add a nice grassy note. The potatoes and peppers and onions give us an earthy note, and then this fresh parsley gives us a grassy note. So we have a balance of flavor, okay? So once again, I'm gonna give it a little hit and just flick of the wrist there. Get it all done. And then I'm gonna ask Chef Adam to come up and grab this, and we're gonna put this in the oven. And our potatoes O'Brien will finish up in the oven with even heat, and we'll bake it out, and they'll be crispy, golden brown, creamy, and we'll still have a little crunch in those vegetables, and it'll be nice and tender. So,
And what temperature do you put it in the
I'm
oven?
gonna put it in the oven on 325 for about 20 to 30 minutes. Man, I tell you, this kitchen is smelling so good. So as we put the final touches on our amazing recipe, Chandra, tell us more about Alabama Possible.
As our guests prepare to make us all hungry, I want to take a moment to share with you Alabama Possible's journey in 2022. For 29 years, Alabama Possible has been a leader in transforming how people think and talk about economic opportunity and educational attainment in Alabama. At Alabama Possible, it is our mission to break down barriers to prosperity through advocacy, education, and collaboration. One way to break generational poverty is to provide equitable access to financial aid for students to attain a post-secondary education. Now, just one way Alabama Possible supported our state in removing the financial barrier to a post-second journey was by advocating for the passing of the state's first universal FAFSA policy. We are excited to share the class of 2022 has Alabama ranked 9th in the nation in FAFSA completion and 2nd in the nation in year-over-year improvement. Now, this work would not have been possible without the hundreds of high school counselors and career coaches who support students and families every day. Here at Alabama Possible, we established the Educators Advisory Council as a way to understand both the challenges and the best practices that they experience when advising their students on a post-secondary journey. The work of Alabama Possible is also guided by data. Annually for 12 years now, we've released a Barriers to Prosperity data sheet, which highlights critical data points for all 67 counties in our state, to include educational attainment, children in poverty, and much more. This data sheet informs both financial and policy decisions made by leaders in and out of our state. This data informs our Barriers to Prosperity discussion series, which is designed to shift narratives on poverty and increase social connectedness to move communities from deliberation to action. This is essential in creating a culture of collaboration in our communities. Alabama Possible also convenes several networks to include the Higher Education Alliance, the Alabama College Attainment Network, a Re-Engage Alabama, and the nation's first historically Black community college and predominantly Black community college network. These bodies of work are only possible because of supporters like you. I also want to take a moment to acknowledge and thank all of today's sponsors. You made today possible.
Greetings. I'm Wayne Talafero, Strategy Director for Student Success at Community Colleges at Lumina Foundation. It is an honor and a privilege to recognize the work of Alabama Possible for today's event. Chandra Scott and her team are fierce advocates for economic mobility and prosperity for all Alabamans. And the work they do to advance opportunity throughout the state's post-secondary and workforce landscape as a core part of that mission is worth celebrating. Lumina has had a long-standing partnership with both Chandra and our partners in Alabama. In 2018, Mobile was designated a Lumina Talent Hub region, where Chandra's leadership at the Mobile Area Education Foundation will go on to earn her well-deserved recognition for her commitment to serving communities. Her transition to the helm at Alabama Possible has enabled her to scale that passion and impact across the entire state and sow the seeds for new and innovative partnerships to advance post-secondary attainment and economic mobility for all, but especially for those who have been the most marginalized. One of those notable partnerships is through the Lumina-funded Historically Black Community College network, led by Complete College America, where Alabama Possible serves as a convener of the state's 8 historically Black community colleges to aid them in their capacity to serve adult learners and strengthen pathways to well-paying careers. This is an exciting time to be doing this work, and an even more critical time to double down on the racial equity imperative that undergirds it. The team at Alabama Possible is well equipped to lead that charge and to meet this moment. This is why I am pleased to share that Lumina Foundation has awarded a $400,000 grant to Alabama Possible to bolster post-secondary attainment across the state's 7 workforce regions. Through this new partnership, Alabama Possible will drive the development of regional college access networks in collaboration with colleges, industries, and backbone community organizations to strengthen the credential and workforce pipeline and ensure that communities across the state are equitably served. We know that Alabama has established its attainment goal. With this award, we hope to see continued momentum towards it to ensure that more Alabamans have access to education and economic opportunity. Again, it is an honor and a privilege to share this news today, and Lumina looks forward to working alongside Alabama Possible to build a prosperous future for the residents of the state.
What an amazing announcement. Congratulations, Alabama Possible.
Okay, guys, let's get into this yogurt parfait. And we've got 3 components here. We have granola, it's a honey almond. Then we have a strawberry yogurt here. Next thing we're gonna have is some macerated berries, and I'll explain the flavor profile on these. We have some grapes in here, some blackberries, blueberries, pineapple, strawberry. And what we did was we took demerara, which is sugar in the raw. It's an unfiltered, unprocessed brown sugar. And we added that with fresh mint, fresh lime juice, a little salt and smoked pepper. And we just tossed it and let everything take its course naturally. So we're gonna start here with the granola.
Okay, wait a minute. Smoked pepper? What is smoked pepper?
Well, there are several types. There's a smoked paprika, which is just a smoked pepper, and it's basically been smoked and then dehydrated. But with this, since there's so much acid in this, we wanted to add a little smoke and a little salt, just so we could give it a variation so that you could taste the mint. Because if I didn't, the acid would have masked all the mint in there. So we're gonna start here with this granola. Give a few spoons here at the bottom. Okay. From there, we want to take some of our yogurt.
So that creates a nice base.
Creates a nice base, and then granola can take it. You can get the moisture on, and it won't sog out, and you won't have oatmeal at the bottom. So keep in mind, this is a parfait and not overnight oats. So granola is actually what you want, okay? We're gonna take a few spoons of this. Nothing fancy, no special magic involved, just basic layering of our yogurt. And then the coup de grace for us guys here. This is really good. Wish you could taste it. It is so fresh, it's so vibrant. And then that sauce just adds more to the flavor profile. And all the color and all these fruits and the mint and everything else are nature's way of letting us know that these things are beneficial and essential to good health. So we're gonna add this on. And then right here, to reinforce that, we want to introduce that granola all over again so that you see it on top, and when you dig in, you can taste it at the bottom as well.
That looks delicious.
It does look delicious. Tell me, on this fruit salad, if we didn't have pineapple, let's say, or like whatever fruit, what is essential to have here?
Whatever you like. Now here's the thing. I wouldn't do apple unless it was a Granny Smith, but if you're gonna do this, definitely, if you don't want to do the pineapple, please include some sort of berry or grape, and then that's essential because the flavors play off one another. Okay, so here we go. We have a nice breakfast parfait. It's good to eat and good to look at.
Marta, can I just say that I thought we were just fixing some cereal bowls this morning.
Me too.
But we have prepared a full meal. Before we reveal our final creation, I want to thank Alabama Possible for their work in supporting our state and increasing the number of Alabamians who are skilled to take advantage of our growing workforce. Alabama economy is strong, our workforce is strong, and so I want everybody to reimagine yourself and come see us at the Alabama Department of Labor.
So here we are with our finished product, guys. I tell you what, it smells so good you can practically smell it through the camera, but enough about that. Let me go ahead and serve up our guests here. A piece of our wonderful frittata and some potatoes O'Brien.
Oh, that looks delicious.
Let's get that smell-o-vision going. It tastes amazing here, guys. There we go. I'm gonna pass this off to you, Marta.
Thank you.
Okay. Secretary, of course, you're next.
Yep, I want all of it now.
I'll make sure. You are.
Thank you.
I'm gonna pass the dessert over to you on this side.
Thank
And
you.
you have yours right before you, Secretary.
Hey,
Let's taste
you
it.
gotta eat too.
Okay, I'll try some. Twist them out. I believe the fan wants to try some too. What do we think, guys?
These potatoes are delicious.
Like it?
So good.
What do you think, Marta?
Wow.
It is good.
This is so good.
Yep. I would say this meal is fit for a king and a queen.
Agreed.
But we're not yet. This is really, really fantastic. Thank you so much.
Thank you for helping us reimagine coffee and conversation, but more importantly, reimagining prosperity in Alabama, guys. Chandra, I'm going to turn it back over to you while we eat these amazing dishes. Bon appetit.
What an exciting morning we've had. I hope you've had as much fun as I have. I want to again thank you, Marta and Secretary Washington, for saying yes to this conversation and for embracing this crazy idea. Dr. Anthony, Chef McDaniel, Chef Elliott, and the entire Lawson State Community College family. You are amazing, and thank you for allowing us to showcase your culinary talents. Thank you again to all of today's sponsors. You made this event a reality. Whether it's post-secondary access, post-secondary success, advocacy, or collaboration, this work would not be possible without our many partners, to include the Governor's Office of Education and Workforce Transformation, Alabama State Department of Education, the Alabama Community College System, Alabama Commission on Higher Education, Alabama Workforce Council. I hope everyone has enjoyed this coffee and conversation while learning about the work of Alabama Possible and how we are reimagining prosperity in Alabama. I want to give a special thanks to AT&T for sponsoring Starbucks coffee for all of our guests in attendance today. A special note of thanks to our presenting sponsors, who without support, this would not have been a possibility. Thank you, Alabama Power and LRY Media Group, for making this live broadcast a great experience. Please know that your gift is an investment in reimagining Alabama's future.